The next component of being intentional and purposeful about it is we want to write it down. We don't want to just think about these things and go, that's very interesting. That is a neat component. We want to actually write that down because it becomes part of our secret sauce that becomes very, very important later on. So a lot of us think about this concept of having a brand, recruiting brand identity. Okay, this is where it starts. Okay, so if you want that thing, we got to start here. Okay, so we identify who we are, who we want to be. We write that down. And then from there, we begin to communicate and enforce/reinforce that. That's where things like beanbags and Taco Tuesday come in. Those are reinforcing or evidence of the kind of culture we have. Okay, so if you're into Mexican food, great. If you're not, you're probably not going to have a Taco Tuesday. Okay. And so we want to reinforce these things, and that comes through communicating them to our people. That's why you see companies put up big slogans and core values and things up on the wall. Excuse me. That's where you see people begin to incorporate cultural example into their reviews with their employees. Like, not only how are you doing performance-wise on the hard black and white numbers, but how well are you fitting into our culture? And are you working towards becoming more of our kind of people here? This becomes really, really critical when you end up working with a company like Team Engine. And so whether you're using an outside recruiter, an inside recruiter, or you're using HR tools, your partners that you use in your human resource strategy and recruiting and hiring strategies need to understand these key components about you, and you need to be able to communicate them, because I see this a lot. I love recruiters. They are very skilled and highly talented people. And so if you're looking to hire a bunch of sales professionals, a recruiter can go out and find people who are capable of being good salespeople, but are they your kind of salespeople? And so the more you understand this and the better you're able to communicate it with people like Team Engine, then the better they're able to help tailor the tools that you're using to fit your needs as a company and your personality. It's really quite critical in that area. Danielle, do you see any of that translating with your folks?
Yeah, I think a lot of times, it kind of reminds me of dating. You have to be able to articulate what you don't want in order to find what you do want, right? And you can't just wander through stacks of applications and guessing whether or not somebody's going to be a good culture fit if you can't articulate who will be a good culture fit in your company.
That's great.
I just jump in real quick too, Nathan, and add that I think one of the things that you articulated that I think is critical about this is you talked about really identifying who you are. I see so many companies out there that they're looking to these other organizations to model what their culture should be. And the reality is sometimes that leaves us kind of swimming upstream, right? And what that creates, I love your dating metaphor, Danielle, is it creates an inauthentic relationship because it's not actually who we are. It's like you can have, and I want to clarify, like you can have this aspirational identity that you're working toward, and that can be authentically you. But if you're just trying to model and mimic something else that's not authentic to you because that's what you think it should be, right? Like beanbags, for example, if that actually doesn't fit your culture and your team, but you're bringing those things in because you think it's going to be good, it's actually going to feel inauthentic and it's not going to have the culture return that you're expecting. And so I just love that call out to really identify like what makes you unique, what sets your culture apart, and communicating that in part of your branding and identity as well.
Yeah.
And maybe the best way to think about it is not what makes your culture unique or your company unique, but you as the leader, as the business owner. What makes you unique as a business person, as an individual, and then leverage that and lean into that, because that's ultimately going to make a differentiator in the job market as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Those are great call outs. And that's actually a great dovetail into the next key component in understanding why this is important and how this can help you combat what a lot of people see as a labor shortage.